Hello! Today we're going to be talking to the main person from LitKnit.
This is Jamie.
So LitKnit is an organization that tries to promote neighbors getting to know each other, and we do that by creating groups on blocks where we teach people to knit and we read to them from classic stories while they're learning. So kids, adults, will teach whoever wants to on the block.
Calla and I came here and we watched a LitKnit occur.
A LitKnit circle is what we call them. It's a LitKnit circle.
We watched a LitKnit circle.
And we just got to see all sorts of cool learning. I mean, little kids picking up knitting needles and just going at it, you know. It's really amazing because I can't even imagine.
I could not knit it at the
Yeah, yeah. And then they read a story and they were all talking and just, I don't know, it was a very cool environment to be a part of.
When did you start LitKnit?
2012. It started in the house that you guys have been interviewing us and you were in.
Here?
Yep.
Okay,
This was
it
where the
started here.
first group started.
So when did it become a nonprofit?
Last spring, about March, we formalized. What happened is somebody saw what we were doing and they donated a nonprofit status to us, so we didn't have to pay and do all the work of signing
incredible.
up. They basically signed a nonprofit over to us that they weren't using.
Okay.
How do you find or let kids know about LitKnit?
That's the part we're exploring right now, because we had the initial group, which happened because my friend had kids hanging out at her house after school, and then I said, well, I'll teach them to knit, and then we just started. It just started to kind of erupt from that, and then now we've been finding them. We're focused on the northeast part of Minneapolis right now, just as we're letting things grow slowly, so people are kind of getting to hear about it. A lot of the ways we find the kids is actually on the hosts in the neighborhoods. So they know who's in their area and they invite people.
Okay.
So I call them neighborhood sponsors. So like Ginny downstairs, she basically committed to, I will nurture this group and so she calls people to remind them. She finds out when they can come, works with me to find out when I can come. So she does a lot of background work to make sure everyone gets in the space. And I just come in and work on knitting. So she does a ton of the work.
Okay.
Yeah. And so she, as the person in the neighborhood, does a lot of work. But it has made her, like, now she knows her neighbors better. She calls them regularly. She sees them. So it gives this reason for neighbors to talk and connect.
You have a group every 6 weeks, right?
In the beginning, we just did it, and
Okay.
we got really tired, like every week. And the kids would always say, "Could we do this 2 or 3 times a week?" They would always want more.
Yeah.
But on the host site and on the teacher, it got heavy. So we reformed it where we do 8-week circles, and then we take a month off as a break, and then we start up another. So we do the same people. It's almost like semesters or quarters.
Yeah.
And so then we have a little break, and then we do 8 more weeks. And that way the neighborhood sponsors can kind of adjust it around when holidays are, or it works better at this time for me, not that. People know it's this chunk of time, and then they know it'll start up again when that sponsor's ready to host again. The hosting and the sponsoring doesn't have to be the same person, but it helps if it is.
So the same groups meet every time, though, pretty much, right?
What's happening, well, because we're, like, LitKnit as an organization is committed to, we will go with you as long as you want to learn and do it. So the neighborhood sponsors know that that's how we feel about it. So as long as they're willing to work to get to know people and to foster community in their area, then we will work with them to keep that moving forward. And so, I mean, this group is almost 2 years old, and I noticed this last summer the kids began to organize the group. They were like, we should make a sign up and have fruit, and they assigned people a week. Then they brought it. That's what shocked me. You know,
That's amazing.
they really did it. You know, and then they had all kinds of. They started running the group. And I was more like, I have a knitting question, and then they would come to me.
Yeah.
So I really saw that the groups began to know how to do it. And then, eventually then I can step back and they've got a group that they can do and
That'll
keep
keep
going.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So it was really neat, yeah.
Okay, so my last question is, what do you see happening with LitKnit in the future?
We've had lots of ideas. I I mean, I've already had people in other states like ask me to start groups. So we're trying to figure out, okay, how do we do like, maybe somewhere we're trying to organize what we do and figure out how to kind of package it or like internet wise or something where people would come on. We would somehow teach them or give them supplies, help them to know how to do it. Right now, what we're doing on the ground is tonight. One of the people here was a LitKnit teacher in training. So we're looking at interns where I start bringing them to groups. They start seeing what I do. I'm training them on the side of how to run a group, and then then more people can do it, and they could go do groups in their areas. I've had a few where kids I've taught to knit a few years ago, now they could go and teach groups. So that's kind of how we're trying, but it's that whole thing of we're all kind of starting to formalize everything.
Yeah.
So the awesome thing about LitKnit is that you get a big group of kids in a room together and you sit them down and you teach them how to knit and you read them stories and they're all like, yeah, let's do it. Let's be super awesome. Let's learn how to knit. Let's talk about stories in a way that's like way above my age. Seriously, these kids are analyzing fables and folk stories and fantasy in a way that is just amazing for their age, and they're learning how to knit.
The other thing about LitKnit that really stuck out to me was that some of these kids probably don't get read to at home, and because of that, I don't know, when I was younger I got read to, and it I think gave me a lot of advantages in just kind of the school system because I walked into kindergarten knowing how to read. So this is a really good thing for those kids. Another thing about LitKnit is that it builds community for these kids. Like, they might not normally know each other. We all kind of have those neighbors that live next to us, but we never actually talk to them. And this is a way to bring a bunch of people together and have them talk to each other and do something fun together. And so that's another thing that we thought was really cool.
So another thing I want to acknowledge is that Jamie is an amazing person. She really is the driving force behind LitKnit. She made it a nonprofit. She teaches all the kids to knit individually. She reads to them. She sets up all the conversation and all the questions behind it. And she has wonderful people that assist her and help her out by hosting and by helping to teach some of the kids specific skills in knitting. But, I mean, this is really run by Jamie. She's so cool. She does most of this herself, and I just wanted to acknowledge that whatever she says, she's a main force behind this, and that is really amazing to me.
So the reason we made this video was because, in part, we wanted to just let you know that LitKnit exists. Like, here's this really cool thing, and we wanted you to know about it. It's an idea you can take with you. But the other thing we wanted to ask is if there is any way that you can help contribute to it. Jamie would be able to use money to make it continue happening. That's kind of I got the impression that they're still trying to make sure it will be able to continue happening. The other thing is Jamie has talked to me about how she wants to have people intern in LitKnit so that they know how to do it, and then you can take it to your neighborhood and say, I'm going to start a LitKnit here.
So if you feel the same way about LitKnit as we do and love it and want it to continue in all its greatness and glory, you should contribute to it. If you have the money to do so, it would be really, really kind of you if you could contribute whatever you do have so that LitKnit can keep teaching kids how to knit and read and do awesome analysis at a young age. This is an awesome thing, and we would like it to continue for as long as it can. So contact us at Calla and Lian if you do want to contribute, or contact us personally if you know us.
Thank you for watching.
Goodbye!